Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now here's Jay.
Yeah, here's Jay. And Jay is, well, I'm sorry we had those problems with Skype. They were my end only, not the station's. And you did get to listen to Danny Luna again. He was a great guy and a great guest. And, you know, I'm not going to say the same things that you already heard in there. But I do need to make sure that I do repeat one more time, let Grandpa speak, and hopefully he's out there listening. And don't forget Southern California Business Report with Daryl McCants and Yvette Walker, and of course, Ron Siegel. But I said a bunch of that kind of stuff earlier, and I also told you who I work for. And what is today? It is Happy Tax Day. Now, I don't know whether most of you people do your taxes in April like you're supposed to, or whether you do them in October like I do, like you're not really supposed to. But I do it. I think it helps the tax people, don't you? I mean, it spreads it out a little for them. With me, I did it once on in October 40 years ago, and ever since, you know, I've kept it a year apart. So I also want to say happy birthday to the 246th birthday of the United States Navy, which was first authorized by the Continental Congress. I believe it was yesterday in 1775. And it's worth noting that Naval Base San Diego is the principal home port of the Pacific Fleet. It is National Mushroom Day. I've called them stools forever, but you know, here they are. Also, I don't have a crick in my neck. I just have this thing going on Facebook that's pretty neat, and you gotta snap your neck to make it happen. But anyway, there is some dried mushrooms. So let's get funky with fungi portobello, shiitake button truffle, and we're talking mushrooms here. Mushrooms are mushrooms that fungus comes in what I mean is it's a fungus that comes in so many varieties and fields themselves in so many tasty dishes. They are a staple in vegetarians' diets as well as the meat eaters like me. They're considered the meat of the fungi world, and they are kind of meaty. So are beans, aren't they? Yet they serve as an addition as an ideal side dish for a juicy steak. These little scrumptious pillows are full of good benefits, but remember, don't go picking all the toadstools in your neighborhood. Some of them are not good for you. They have a high protein content and vitamin B, vitamin C, calcium, potassium, and zinc. And there are over 10,000 known types of mushrooms, and they're grouped into 4 categories. Some act as decomposers of decaying wood, plants, and animals. They also bring moisture and nutrients to plants that help them grow, or can invade their tissue and give them nutrients, and yet some can even infect the host and eventually kill it. And you had no idea how mighty a little stool can be. Now, put the fun in fungi and cook them at home. You can pop them on a burger, which I like. Cook a mushroom soup, which I love. Saute them with bacon. Ooh, now you're talking. You never made that bacon, did you?
No.
Anyway, stuff them, throw them in a salad, or serve them with seafood. FYI, Pennsylvania produces nearly half the nation's button mushrooms, and California and Florida are the second and third leading producers.
Nothing better than a bacon mushroom Swiss burger.
Oh, now you're talking like a man. And in 2019, at Pennsylvania's annual Mushroom Festival in Kennett Square, which happens to be the mushroom capital of the world, you could see trails of cars extending for miles. It is said it is likened to a crowd for Woodstock, except smelled like mushroom stock instead of weed smoke. And what are you?
Patchouli.
Patchouli. You're the druggie amongst us, so I didn't. Yeah. Amongst the mushroom hats, plush stuffed mushrooms. I've never had a mushroom hat, but I went to a place called, I'm doing that thing, the Stinking Rose, and they gave you a garlic hat to wear. Mushroom necklaces and earrings, mushroom stained glass. And there's a national fried mushroom eating contest. Molly Schuller, Schuylar, somebody so important, make sure we got her name right, ate 9.5 pounds of fried button mushrooms in 8 minutes and won first place and $800. National Department Store Day is tomorrow. And this day reminds us what benefits the old-fashioned department store brought to us. You know, I was thinking about the internet and how they say the internet is putting businesses, smaller businesses out of business. Well, isn't that kind of the same thing department stores were doing? So we're kind of repeating ourselves. So instead of small single stores to go to shop at, and luckily they did survive in many cases, there was one place you could go and get all of that. The days before ordering online, customers would go straight to department store to buy most everything a home needed. Remember that? From appliances to furniture to clothing, you could usually find it all at the local department store, and it was magic. Remember the store catalog? Yeah, I do. And a lot of those people with outhouses, they actually had to have those catalogs. As kids, it was especially fun to find it in the mailbox around holidays, as we used to search through pictures of toys that would be included in our list for Santa. So department stores have been in existence since early 19th century. It used to be the common place for people to meet, share the news of the day, and catch up. A few noteworthy early department stores. And here we focus on their beginnings, not their exterminations. So W.F. Woolworth, and that used to be the tallest building in the world, I think, for a while in New York. It was a general merchandise store called a five and dime because everything sold for 10 cents or less. Now we do have dollar stores, but not everything in those dollar stores sell for $1 or less. Montgomery Ward, or as we used to call it, Monkey Ward, and company started as a mail order business selling to farmers, opening their retail stores in 1926. S.S. Kresge Company opened in 1897 and grew to hundreds of stores opening, and they opened the first Kmart. I guess that's where Kresge comes from, right? National Record Mart, now you're talking, was founded in 1937 and specialized in used 78 RPM records from jukeboxes. And I do have a jukebox. And listening to 78s is not as bad as you might think. They've got a certain magic about them. Anyway, it became the first music store chain in the United States and helped bring the Beatles to town for a concert. W.T. Grant 25-cent store was opened by W.T. Grant in 1906 in Massachusetts with $1,000 he saved from his work as a salesman, probably at another department store. Robert Hall Clothiers, a family clothing store, opened in 1937 in Connecticut and expanded across the country in 36 states. And do you remember Bond clothing and all those pictures you see of Times Square in the olden days? Always had a huge Bond sign. And let's not forget Portly at Zachary All. Zachary All used to talk about their portly sizes that only I could fit. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this if we have time in the future, but I remember going with my mommy and daddy to see Manchurian Candidate, the one with Frank Sinatra, etc. And it was on Wilshire Boulevard, and it was right next to Zachary All, and I remember the Portly thing. Anyway, Tom McCann was founded in New York in 1922 as a discount family shoe store. Whatever happened to Kinney Shoes? That's another one, right? Anyway, Radio Shack was founded in Boston in 1921 to provide equipment for ham radio operators. It was the place for electronics with over 7,000 locations. Blockbuster was created in 1985 and had over 9,000 locations for video rentals. They got into the red box business and the video business, or they tried a little late. As far as I know, they didn't make it, but who knows what portion they may own of those other companies. Let's get into our famous people's birthdays. Jack Arnold. Who's Jack Arnold? Well, he was born yesterday, October 14th in 1916, and he lasted until 1992, and he was an American actor and film and television director, best known, and we know him very well, as one of the leading filmmakers of 1950s science fiction films. We have a picture or two of Jack. Who's that there? That's not Jack. Oh, it is? Okay. I need to hold these pictures down a little bit. I noticed from last week they weren't quite, let me hold it towards Facebook there and back over here. And let me just wait a quick second to see what shows up on the monitor so I know whether I'm aligning it up right. Maybe a little bit too low, huh? Okay, well, here's another picture. And there he is, a little bit older. And there's one of his creations, not that he did the makeup, but he did, well, we'll talk about his movies here in a bit. But yeah, I think that you recognize that. It looks a lot like me, but no, it ain't me there on his desk. And let's get one more very studious looking Jack Arnold at a later date. And looking good as an old guy. So good for him. But he was born in New Haven, Connecticut, and read a lot of science fiction, no kidding, as a child. He became a professional actor in his late teens and enrolled in the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. He worked as a vaudeville dancer, really, and later began getting roles in Broadway plays. And when Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, he enlisted as a cadet for pilot training and wound up taking a crash course in cinematography. He became a cameraman and learned techniques of filmmaking by assisting on various military films. And after the war, he formed a film production company and made fundraiser films for nonprofits and documentaries as he continued acting on stage. I thought Creature from the Black Lagoon was a documentary, no? No, anyway, Arnold directed a number of 1950 science fiction films that are noted for their atmospheric black and white cinematography and sophisticated, well, I don't know whether I'd call them sophisticated, but let's just say sophisticated scripts, as well as style. Style, yes. His films are said to be smart, snappy pacing throughout and genuine, heartfelt enthusiasm for the genre. Took me a long time to know how to pronounce that word. Anyway, plenty of eerie atmosphere. And The Incredible Shrinking Man is considered his masterpiece and a masterpiece. Arnold said that as a youngster, I used to buy all the pulp magazines and was so pleased when I was assigned to direct my first sci-fi film because I was still an avid fan. Arnold also directed several Western films, episodes of television, Perry Mason, Peter Gunn, Brady Bunch, is that a monster movie? No. Rawhide, Mod Squad, Gilligan's Island, Mr. Lucky, and Ellery Queen. After his death, the UCLA Film Archive held a tribute called Jack Arnold, the Incredible Thinking Man. That's good. A film festival which screened a number of his films, and Jack also directed over 14 films and many television episodes. Here's a short list. Creature from the Black Lagoon, 1954, starred Julie Adams, Richard Carlson, and Richard Denning. And of course, there's a Laserdisc of it. And I thought Richard Denning played a real stupid guy. I mean, he was supposed to be the hero, but every decision he made put me even in a worse case. Revenge of the Creature, and we've got all of those in a box set, starred John Agar and John Bromfield. John Bromfield was a personal friend of my in-laws at one time. Tarantula, 1955, which we just watched the other day. What do I have in my hand? I have Shrinking Man. You know, I'm going to show it to you now anyway because we mentioned it once. And this is a very thinking person's film, very well done, and screenplay by guess who? Richard Matheson. The Incredible Shrinking Man was, Tarantula was John Agar, Mara Corday, and Leo G. Carroll. Leo G. Carroll in that group? Yeah, and he did a great job. The Incredible Shrinking Man, 1957, starred Randy Stewart, William Schallert, and Grant Williams. This film was selected for the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, aesthetically, and historically significant along with this show. Monolith Monsters is really cool, starring Grant Williams, Les Tremayne, Lola Albright, William Schallert again. And that's in this... we had all of these in Laserdisc, but I wanted them in DVD form. And this particular thing has Tarantula, The Mole People, The Incredible Shrinking Man, Monolith Monsters, and Monster on the Campus. All of them very entertaining. Monster on Campus, 1958, starred Arthur Franz, Troy Donahue, yeah, and Whit Bissell, who we've talked about at length. The Mouse That Roared was, not science. Well, who knows? It kind of was, wasn't it? 1959. What do you got there?
It came from outer space.
Oh, okay. We'll get to that. The second starred Peter Sellers, Gene Seberg, and Peter Sellers played 3 different roles: the Duchess, Prime Minister, and a military leader. This was 5 years before he did 3 different roles in Dr. Strangelove, one of my favorite all-time films, and probably yours too. NASA Nellie will not be with us. NASA Nellie is spaced out today, as she would say. And we're going to talk about Angela Lansbury now. And oh no, you know what? It Came from Outer Space was another one, Jack Arnold, right? Mm-hmm. This was based on what's his name's book or novella. Somebody who you, of course, who's well known, but so be it. I thought this film was a little less than it should have been, but it's still very, very entertaining. And the guy that wrote it didn't want anybody to see the monsters, but turned out that they did. And if you could look at the back and tell me who that really is, because his name is right on the tip of my tongue. And of course, we showed the Laserdisc cover of this the other day, so we'll just throw that up there one more time for old time's sake, because I am an old timer. And Angela Lansbury. And here she is as a youngin'. And if you look, you can see definitely the Angela Lansbury. She is there. And
Bradbury?
Ray Bradbury, yeah, that's the guy that wrote that. I'm going to grab that. And here she is in, I'm not sure which film was this. May have been Gaslight. That this still was taken from, which one of her first films. Kind of put her on the map. And she's still around. She was born October 16th, 1925. And here she is a little more lately. Okay? A little more laterness. And my head won't stop spinning on Facebook, but so be it. I don't know what's causing that to happen. Oh, there we go. And anyway, Angela, it's American, British, Irish. I just lost the Facebook feed, so that's okay. And if you could please put this on, the download settings here, I would appreciate it. Post now, post forever, and there you go. She'll be 96 years old tomorrow. She was born in, speaking of 90s, what do you think of William Shatner that went into space? When was it? A couple days ago. Now, I know it wasn't on the Enterprise, and he wasn't up there for very long, but at least he was up there. That's more than I can say. And when I was young, I used to think by this time, we'd be taking vacations on the moon and Mars, but that didn't happen. And what's that phrase that he said that...
He says he hopes he never recovers.
Oh, yeah. Shatner said he hopes he never recovers from it. And he's still very active. Lots of TV things. Anyway, Angela was born in London to an upper middle-class family. Her mother was an Irish film actress. Her father was an English timber merchant and a politician. And after her father passed away and her mother remarried, she considered herself self-educated, learning from books, theater, and cinema. She visited the cinema regularly and imagined herself as certain characters. Well, I do that too, but like, Creature from the Black Lagoon and It Came from Outer Space. She studied music, learned to play the piano, and how to dance as well. At 16, she moved to the U.S. with her family. Their first home was a bungalow in Laurel Canyon. I guess next to, what's her name? We just got the...
Oh, Joni Mitchell?
Joni Mitchell and those other people. And I have driven up there to see Joni Mitchell's old house and so many of the other people. Laurel Canyon's so cool because it looks like you're 1,000 miles away in the mountains and you're like 10 minutes from L.A. Anyway, Angela claims she was 19 when her mother worked at the Bullock's Wilshire department store in Los Angeles. What a beautiful building that is. Mother was fired and the family then depended on Angela's wages of $26 a week. The mother attended lectures of a spiritual guru and hosted a party where Angela met the screenwriter of Gaslight. She was signed up for the part when she was only 17 years old, which earned her the Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. And a whole lot of more roles followed there. Lansbury starred in over 50 films and also in several television shows, including Murder, She Wrote. And I'm not big on watching all the old Gunsmokes and Wagon Trail and stuff like that. I've seen them, I think, enough. But, when I do see Murder, She Wrote, I never watched it when they were first runs, and they are kind of entertaining. But that aired from 1984 to 1996, and she was nominated for 3 Academy Awards and won an honorary award in 2014. A short list of her films includes Gaslight, which I don't have a copy of, but when I was an urchin, that used to be on TV so much. Anyway, and that starred Ingrid Bergman, Charles Boyer, Joseph Cotton, film nominated for 7 Oscars and won 2. Harvey Girls 1946, When I Was Born, directed by George Sidney and starred Judy Garland, Roy Bolger, film nominated for 2 Academy Awards. I'm sorry I'm yapping so fast, but because of what happened the first hour, I'm pushing in as much as we can in the second hour, and of course I am a blabbermouth anyway. The Long Hot Summer, 1958, director Martin Ritt, starred Paul Newman, Joanne Woodward, and Orson Welles, and that is a great one. Blue Hawaii, 1961, directed by Norman Taurog, Taurog, starring Elvis Presley. And The Manchurian Candidate, which of course brings back memories of Zachary All and Portly. And that was I don't have a copy of it handy. Anyway, directed by John Frankenheimer, great director, starred Frank Sinatra, Lawrence Harvey, Janet Leigh. Film nominated for 2 Oscars, one being Best Supporting Actress for Angela Lansbury. Now, this wasn't the movie, but she was on Broadway for Sweeney Todd, Demon Barber of Fleet Street, and here is we do have a DVD of the play, which is wonderful, and Tim Burton did a remake with his wife in Angela Lansbury's place, and Johnny Depp, of course. And you know what? And Johnny did his own singing, but of course he wanted to be a rock star anyway, but he turned out to be a different kind of rock star. So he could definitely sing. And there we go. So this was written by Stephen Sondheim, and Lansbury remained in the role of Mrs. Lovett, the meat pie seller, for 14 months. Beauty and the Beast was an animated film, 1991, where Lansbury voiced the character of Mrs. Potts, film nominated for 7 Academy Awards, won 2, one being Best Original Song, sung by Angela Lansbury, and Best Original Score. And if you've seen the movie, and probably you have, there's a more upbeat, newer version of the song at the end, and I'm sure it's very well done, but it does not hold a candle, in my book, to Angela Lansbury's rendition of that. And Grand Budapest Hotel, 2014, and Wes Anderson is coming out with a new one. At least it looks like they're really pushing his style on this one. But I love this one, and you probably did too, and I can't wait to see the new one, which is the Something or Other Dispatch. But I don't know whether it's out or it will be very soon. The director, of course, Wes Anderson, starred Ralph Fiennes, Bill Murray, William Dafoe, Jeff Goldblum, and I can think of some people that are not listed here, but that's okay. Film nominated for 9 Academy Awards and won 4. Did I miss anything?
That's just the original that we like.
Oh, just to show you the original Beauty and the Beast. Is this better than the animated version? Yeah, it is. The animated version, though, was great. And as I recall, the waltz scene in the animated version was the first fully computer-generated scene. This movie we talked about, I believe, a week or two ago, when it had to do with Coppola, and we don't need to get into that too much more. Well, we're rocking right along here, Kathleen.
Mm-hmm.
So Tim Robbins was born October 16th, 1958. Maybe I can slow down a little bit here. Timothy Francis Robbins, I can see why he dropped the Francis, is an American actor, filmmaker, and musician. He was born in West Covina, and raised in New York City. His mother was a musician. His father was a singer, actor, and manager of the Gaslight Cafe. And did you know the Gaslight was, and we're not talking about Angela Lansbury movie, was what's called a basket house, coffee house in the Greenwich Village neighborhood in Manhattan, New York City, where unpaid performers would pass around a basket at the end of each set, hoping to get paid. It showcased Allen Ginsberg, Patti Smith, singer, Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, and we're starting to collect some more Joni Mitchell albums. They're being repressed. Some of them 12-inch 45s, really good. Some early stuff and later stuff. Anyway, Bruce Springsteen was there passing the hat. Richie Havens was passing the hat. Jimi Hendrix. And Eric Clapton, and even Charlie Mingus, who ended up playing with Joni Mitchell, as you might recall. So Tim moved to Greenwich Village with his family while his father pursued a career as a member of the folk music group The Highwaymen, who we kind of remember. Tim started performing in theater at age 12 and joined a drama club in high school. He returned to California and studied at and graduated from UCLA Film School. He formed an experimental theater group in Culver City called the Actors Gang, and they have produced over 150 plays in Los Angeles, in 40 states, and abroad. And Tim is an obsessive vinyl collector like myself. And maybe should we show him the records I bought this week? Or are we going to run out of time?
No, we can.
Bring them over quickly here.
Right,
Because things sound, according to him, things sound so much better on vinyl. And he is a musician as well and plays harmonica, accordion, piano, double basses to electric guitars, and mandolin. He said when he was 7, he went on a mini tour with his dad and his brother, who is a brilliant guitarist, who became a composer and did scores for Tim's movies. And Tim Robbins starred in over 60 films, and here's a short list of his films. And where is the director of this show? Hello, director. Because I'm going to need you. Okay. Yeah, this is what we promised first. Okay. Bought this week. This is a repressing. And
Did you buy this week?
yeah, I bought this week, which is kind of a new one, Ron Carter. And been looking for this one for a while for a decent copy, and this one's Speaker's Corner. And happy to get that one. And one more for my collection of yellow, but so be it for that. Network, 1976, Tim Robbins. Director Stanley Lumet. Starred Faye Dunaway, William Holden, Peter Finch, and Robert Duvall. The film was nominated for 10 Academy Awards and won 4. Jacob's Ladder, 1990. And that was director Adrian Lane. Now, let's get some pictures. And you probably already know what the man looks like. But there he is at a slightly younger age. And what do we have here? What a always smiling face he seems to have, doesn't he? And here's my favorite picture. There he is with the hula hoop from Hudsucker's Proxy. The future is now. And we've talked about that so many times. I don't need to talk about it again, but go see the Hudsucker Proxy. It's so entertaining and so much fun and all of that stuff. It's, Coen Brothers film. I don't need to go into it too much more. And here he is with, what's his name? Morgan Freeman. I'm sure that was after Shawshank Redemption, which is also a brilliant film. And one more picture. Just another smile is all we got here, but that smiles are important, ain't they? So let me go on and say he was in The Player, one of my favorite all-time films. And if you haven't seen The Player, see it. It may still have the longest single running shot in cinema. I know he tried to outdo Orson Welles and did. And he tried to, that was in, what was that, Evil,
the
one,
I know, I can't remember.
Anyway,
Touch of Evil,
which was a brilliant film also. But The Player, that's a movie about making a movie, and the movie they're making is the one you're watching. So, I mean, it's a little but it's very, very, very entertaining. And it's great. So, it was directed by Robert Altman, starred Fred Ward, Greta Sachi, Whoopi Goldberg, film nominated for 3 Oscars, and it should have won Best Movie. But anyway, Hudsucker Proxy, we've talked about too many times, but there's no such thing as too many times when it comes to this film in my book. Directed by the Coen brothers, starred Paul Newman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, along with our man Tim. Shawshank Redemption, which we talked about in 1994, directed by Frank Darabont, starred Morgan Freeman, film nominated for 7 Academy Awards. Dead Man Walking, 1996, directed by Robin Williams, listen to me, Tim Robbins, and starred Sean Penn, Susan Sarandon, which I think was his wife at the time, maybe still, I don't think so. Film nominated for 4 Academy Awards and won one for Best Actress for Susan Sarandon. Now, this is a several soundtrack copy of the score. There's 3 records in here. Very, very, very well done. And that's because Tim Robbins was such a vinyl freak. So it's an all analog but very inventive music. There it is. So 6-sided. Got some Ry Cooder and some other Patti Smith, Tom Waits, Suzanne Vega, and a lot of instrumental stuff that's really, really good. Oh, and David Robbins is on here. I think we mentioned his brother at one time a few minutes ago. So Mystic River, which, here you go. Gee, I wonder why this still has a seal on it. Remember all of the movies we showed you that are still unopened? Well, there's another one, I guess. And it was directed by Clint Eastwood, who just came out with another one at 120 years old. So we got hats off to him also. And maybe he'll be going into space soon. Starred Sean Penn, Kevin Bacon, and which reminds me, we haven't made the bacon yet. It's in the refrigerator. Lawrence Fishburne. And the film was nominated for 6 Academy Awards and won 2, including Best Actor Sean Penn, Best Supporting Actor Tim Robbins. And
2 other movies not
oh, there's 2 other movies we didn't mention. Mission to Mars, which I didn't think was very good, but you know, it has to do with Mars, so I had to watch it. And he, anyway, I was going to say what happens to him, but in case you haven't watched it, I don't want to get into that.
Short role.
No, it was not a short. It was an important role that he actually did in War of the Worlds. This version of War of the Worlds. And, well, of course, I still like the original one. And we talked about that new Criterion one and all the extras that come with that original one, which was playing at the Studio Theater when I was a little tyke in the San Fernando Valley. Okay, now we got some honorable mentions. Chuck Berry. And he was born October 18th, 1926, and left us in 2017. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up is we just ordered a box set of records that reproduce what was said on the 2 Voyager, what do you call them? Spacecraft, all right, whatever you call them. Yeah, they are spacecraft. They weren't a satellite. They went out there. They're still way out there, and they're going way out even further. But Chuck Berry was some of the music represented on those discs. And when I'm doing the research for this show, I didn't know that there was a record on Voyager 1 and another one on Voyager 2. So now I know. Now you know, too. But you probably knew. And Charles Edward Anderson Berry was an American singer, songwriter, and guitarist. He was nicknamed the father of rock and roll. And he had a distinctive style with songs such as Maybelline, Roll Over Beethoven, and Johnny B. Good. Now, who else? And of course, you know, sometimes we delegate these to the important birthdays, sometimes to honorable mention. And the only reason honorable mention, it's not because they're not as important. It is, however, because we think a lot of people already know so much about these people. Burt Kemfort, October.
Wait, you want to show pictures?
Oh, yeah.
Young pictures? Okay.
I'm sorry. That's why we have a director, because, you know, I need direction. What do you think of that? That's Chuck Berry. Look at the intense eyes. He had it when he was young. He was there already, wasn't he? Yes, he was. And, okay. And here's another one, a little bit more age to him. There he is.
Johnny Be Good was the tune they.
Oh, Johnny Be
had
Good
on
is the
there.
one that was on the Voyager, or as Star Trek One, and was also was part of the Star Trek television series. V'ger, remember V'ger? But there he is, still with
And
those
Back
same
to the
eyes.
Future. The movie, remember?
No.
It was highlighted in Back to the Future with.
Anyway, I don't remember that in Back to the Future, but you want to
movie-
talk about it?
Well, the movie Back to the Future.
Yeah, which we know
where
well.
He was playing the guitar on stage for the school dance.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
playing
Okay,
Johnny B.
yeah.
Goode.
Burt Kemfort was October 16th, 1923, and left us in 1980. And Burt was a German orchestra leader, music arranger, and composer. He won a Golden Globe Award for Strangers in the Night. I have probably 20 more records than this of his. Do I like all of it? No. Do I like some of it? A great deal. And I even have one very special pressing, which we didn't pull out for this, but that's a Hold Me, Burt Kemfort on Decca. Hand me the other, please. Grab that, please. Burt Kemper's greatest hits. All right. And what are his greatest hits? Red Roses for a Blue Lady, Donkashane, Strangers in the Night, of course. Wonderland by Night, and a Swingin' Safari. And he looks like he's ready to swing. Strangers in the Night. Here is the album. One of the two. This one's Polydor. Burt Kemfort. There he is. And another of the real famous ones. Red Roses for a Blue Lady. Come on, you've got to remember some of this stuff from our childhood. Best of Burt. Look at him sitting there with his cigarette. Anything on the inside? Well, yeah, why not? I haven't played some of these in years, but, you know, that's what you get for having so many records. And there he is. Look at the gentleman there sitting. There he is, leaned over with another cigarette, I think. And there he is on the lawn of somebody's estate, maybe his own. And the Burt Kemfort Touch. Wow, another one. This is Decca. Okay. And I mean, we could go on and on, but we're not gonna. So he won that Golden Globe for Strangers in the Night. And we also have Roger Moore. October 14th, that was yesterday. I've got 10/27 to 2017. That's a lot of years. I'm going to say 1927 to 2017. And that's still a lot of years. Is that right?
I'll check.
That's all right. Anyway, Roger was an English actor and the third actor to portray James Bond. He starred in 7 007 feature films, as well as over 30 others. He was also a major television star in many times.
1927 to 2017.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Specifically, The Saint and Maverick. I do remember him in Maverick, but The Saint, he was definitely not in the movies. That was on television. The Saint in the movies was the two brothers, Sanders brothers. And here's a couple of Here's Moonraker. I think this is our director's favorite one of those. Now, there was a big difference between Sean Connery and this guy. When this guy came in, they changed to a more fantastic science fiction-y kind of, but it went well with him, and they were very entertaining. Here is a copy of the soundtrack. However, if you like the music from this, you can also listen to the music from Out of Africa, because John Barry used the same theme in both. And there is, what's his name with the teeth? What do we call him?
Jaws. Well, they call them
Jaws.
but-
Jaws. And of course, Shirley Bassey singing on this one. And a lot of fun in outer space. So, on this day in history, okay, was released October the 15th, 1940, directed by Charlie Chaplin, and starred Charlie Chaplin and Paulette Goddard and Jack Oakey. Film nominated for 5 Oscars, including Best Picture. And here's a big laser disc of that. We've got all of these Charlie Chaplin films on Laserdisc and some on DVDs, but I'm going to open this up for you. This side here, you won't be able to see much of. This side's got some decent pictures on it. And
That's it.
and that's it. And I guess I talked too fast. That was supposed to take what I just talked plus my normal spiel about other shows and my website was scheduled for an hour and a half, but I rammed through it. But let's finish. We're not quite done. The Untouchables television series premiered on October 15th, starring Robert Stack, narrated by Walter Winchell, and produced by Desilu Productions, and guest starred many major actors such as Jack Elam, William Bendix, Charles Bronson, James Caan, James Coburn, Robert Duvall, Peter Falk, Anne Francis, Martin Landau, Barbara Stanwyck, Lee Marvin. Well, I guess we're going to make it another 15 minutes just be reading this now. Leonard Nimoy, Robert Redford, just to name a few. The show ran from 1959 to 1963. It fictionalized experiences of Elliot Ness, armed with a Tommy gun and dressed in a sharp suit as a prohibition agent fighting crime in Chicago in the 1930s. He and his crew took down bookies and crooks week after week. And did you know other actors in line for the role of Elliot Ness was Van Johnson? Oh, yeah. Fred McMurray. I don't see him as that, but he plays, Fred played some great dramatic roles, that's for sure. There was Double Indemnity and, of course, the Caine Mutiny. Cliff Roberts and Jack Lord. Frank Sinatra and Cardinal Spellman of New York criticized the show. Sam Giancana, mafia boss, ordered Frank to pay a visit to Desi Arnaz. J. Edgar Hoover was no fan either. But you know what? Television audience was a fan. So Desi Arnaz went to school with Al Capone's son. The two were friends as teenagers. One of the groups that tried to end the show was the estate of Al Capone. It was their claim that this show was unfairly profiting from the Capone name. Well, give me a break. And instead of a break, well, let's go into some jokes. And we have our director, not Nessanelli. Don't get them mixed up, okay? And do you want your microphone plugged in? No? Okay. So again, we're doing, what is this entitled?
Senior texting codes.
Senior texting code. So feel free to LOL. But what we're showing here is, I better look at it, DWI, driving while intoxicated?
Close.
Close?
Driving while incontinent.
Driving while incontinent. Oh boy. Yeah. So, and what's 2 minutes? So you better hurry up with that. We need another board if you want to do it that way.
All right, one more.
One more. Well, maybe 2 more. But while we're getting ready for that joke, I want to again thank everyone for sticking with us. 1 hour of last week's, 1 hour of this week's. Stay safe out there. And TTYL.
Talk to you louder.
Talk to you louder?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, maybe you better say something else that's funny. Like one of those jokes you told me just before we went off.
Okay.
But in case we get cut off,
How about,
go ahead, real quick.
Dad, are we pyromaniacs? Yes, we are, son.
Oh boy, that is good. You got to admit, that's good. And until next week, Oh, we still got 1 minute. Lay another one on
Okay.
us.
How to prepare tofu. A, throw it in the trash. B, grill some meat, chicken, or fish. That's it.
That's it. Okay. How about the other list with some friends? Another texting thing.
Oh,
Well, you don't have to write it down each time, but in case Sean takes that hook out and pulls me off stage, remember Kaplan will be here in front of the same cigar store next week. Take care of yourselves and thank you so much. But if we have another joke, let's slide it in. Oh,
oops, I'm sorry.
texting thing.
ATD.
ATD.
At the doctor's.
At the doctor's. Okay, well, that makes sense. Anyway, I think we've used up our time. Hopefully not our usefulness. And I want to thank Sean one more time for putting up with the problems that I created at the 3 o'clock hour. And until next week, take care of yourselves and thank you so much for being here.